Tampa Bay athletes that are who is the Messi of Tampa Bay sports? And a lot of good text messages that came in for that one on the text line. And, a lot of people are like, are we missing the obvious in Tom Brady? And look, I think Tom Brady, I'm A-okay with the answer of Tom Brady. There is no issue with Tom Brady being the Messi of Tampa Bay sports. Now, I thought if I would have said Tom Brady, everyone would be like, yeah, but he was only here for 3 years and would probably disagree. But I said Andre Vasilevsky, and I was surprised by how many people disagreed with that, just going based off overall resume and everything he's accomplished in Tampa Bay sports. I didn't think Vazzy was very controversial, but it is. Some people are talking about Hulk Hogan. I mean, he's a guy that lived in Tampa Bay, but he wasn't part of Tampa Bay sports. So I don't know if that necessarily counts. I did just see something on Twitter during the break. It was a Scotland fan. They are down in Miami now because Scotland has moved on from Boston to Miami. He said, help, I'm at a Publix. What pub sub do I get? Got to go chicken tender, right, Tim?
100%.
You eat chicken tender pub subs?
All the time.
It's not in the steak family. I'm surprised by that.
Oh, I love chicken tender pub subs.
Chicken tender pub. Afterwards, I need a nap, though. I can't do anything afterwards.
A whole chicken tender pub sub definitely comes with a nap.
Like people that eat those and then go back to work, I'm like, how do you do that? Joining the Nick Wize Show right now, we're going to go to the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network DAE hotline. Learn more at cfbhn.org. Jeff Attinella, former USF goaltender, now on the broadcast team for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. I heard you on Rock Riley's show Friday. It sounded like you had a little bit of fun. Maybe you're hanging out at the bars for that Team USA game. Are you a little bit more sober today, Jeff?
Listen, we have watch parties, and I got to be a man of the people. You got to enjoy. You got to enjoy what's going on. But yeah, no, I'm at Al Lang Stadium, so a little bit more calmed down than the McDitton's experience in which Rock Raleigh was subjected to.
Yeah, the watch parties all across town were fantastic on Friday. Tampa Bay is absolutely embracing Team USA right now. Somebody who's not necessarily embracing them, Tim Howard, he said it's impossible for Team USA to win the World Cup. Do you agree that it's impossible?
I don't think it's impossible. I understand where he's coming from in terms of, needing to play their best game that many times in a row. But at the same time, now, if you're looking at the draw, not to say it's an easy path, but if the tournament ended today and group stage kicked off, I would give us a pretty solid chance to get to the quarterfinals with a really good chance to get into the semis as well with the matchups. So I don't know that we're going to have to be all that great if the chips fall the way that they look right now. So I understand where he's coming from, but I don't think it's impossible.
No, I don't think it's impossible. Do I think it's hard? Would I bet my house on it? Probably not, but I don't think it's impossible. And like you mentioned, if it were to end now, the draw looks kind of nice. I would say, based on the path that they could end up with right now, I would say there's a legit path to the quarterfinals, and anything less might be a little bit disappointing at this point. Would you agree?
With how it shakes out now and what we're looking at, I would think the same thing. But then even when you get to that quarterfinal, I mean, the matchup, at least the one that I saw the last I looked at, it wasn't one that was too daunting either. So, I mean, I realize, listen, sometimes you got to drink a little bit of the Kool-Aid and get caught up in the moment. But the way that U.S. has looked, the draw that kind of looks like it's the way that it's shaking out, semifinals, which is everybody's like pipe dream, seems pretty within reach. And as with all sports, you know how it is. If you get to the semis, literally anything can happen. So I don't agree with old Tim Howard on that one.
We're talking to former USF goaltender Jeff Attinella, former goaltender who doesn't think it's impossible for Team USA to win the World Cup. Now, they have the 10th best odds to win the whole thing. Would you say they're in the top 10 for a top 10 team right now, or are they a little bit below that?
I think the way that they've looked, but then again, a team like Belgium, who everybody thought was going to be a top team, they haven't looked too great. So there's some of the teams that are powerhouses that haven't necessarily wowed anybody. Of course, the Frances of the world, Argentinas of the world, those guys are doing their thing. But when you break it down in terms of the top 10, you look at a Uruguay. No offense to Cape Verde, but they just tied Cape Verde. Uruguay's a team that's supposed to be a good team. So I think that some of the higher ranked teams going into this tournament haven't necessarily done as well. And when you look at a team like the U.S., the way that they've played, they seem like a top 10 team to me if I'm just watching, basing it off of what I'm seeing with my eyes. So I agree with where the books are at on that one.
Yeah, they got some serious momentum right now, and look, we're all drinking the red, white, and blue Kool-Aid right now. We're all getting behind it, and I think the other team we've kind of adopted is the team you just mentioned. They kind of been the darlings of the tournament, and I know they're housing them over. They're practicing at the Tampa Bay Rowdies facilities. It's Cabo Verde or Cape Verde, Cape Verde. I've heard all different pronunciations. Nobody actually knows the name. But what is your interactions with that team been like? They are I kind of consider them the small. They're like the small school that is into the Sweet 16. I know we're still in group play, but they're like that small team that's made it into the Sweet 16 that everybody is kind of just rooting for. What's your interactions with that team been like?
Yeah, I think that's a perfect comparison because it's kind of like that one team that everybody wants to really root for, and you can't believe that they keep doing it, but they keep figuring out a way to get it done. So they've had a couple moments where they had an open practice before the tournament even kicked off, so there was a chance to just kind of watch the way that they trained. We got to say hi to the players and just kind of meet everybody. They were nice, there were a bunch of kids out there, so they took pictures with the kids, so everybody was very welcoming. But then after that game versus Spain, we had the opportunity to go into a media scrum, and I thought it was going to be more. I didn't realize how many people were going to be there, but it was just chaotic. So everybody wanted to talk to the goalkeeper, of course, because of everything that's happening with him. But, even just listening to the players, the way that they were speaking to the media, it was all very, we're here for football. The whole reason that we made the World Cup, the whole reason that we even have this type of opportunity to have this type of platform is because of football. So they were strictly business. They knew what was coming with Uruguay. They knew it was going to be a tough game. It seemed like they had a good plan laid out. It worked out for them. I don't know what Uruguay's goalie was doing on that second goal, but as a massive newly found Cape Verde fan, I'll take it all day long. And now they actually have a chance to get through the group. So for them, it's just kind of been all business, and it doesn't seem like, at least internally, that they've been really caught up in the moment or all the momentum that they've had. And just from the interactions and the times that I've been able to hear them talk, they have their heads on straight. They seem like they have a good game plan laid out. And, now I think if they get a draw, they have a good shot. And if they win, they're in. So it's a good opportunity for them, man. And it's pretty cool that they're able to do that from Tampa as our adopted team and know that they're training at the Rowdies facility.
Former USF goaltender Jeff Attinella, he's also on the broadcast team for the Tampa Bay Rowdies, joining the Nick Wize Show to talk about the World Cup. And, so is it Cape Verde? You were around the team. What do they say? Because the broadcast was calling them Cape Verde the other day. I've heard Cape Verde. Do you know the correct pronunciation of that country?
I've heard it said as many different ways as you had, and even internally, everybody says it a different way. So I'm going with Cape Verde because I think that's that's how I heard it the most. But I've heard Cabo Verde, I've heard Cape Verde. I'm just going to go with Cape Verde. That's been what I'm sticking with. Cape
Verde, that's what we'll go with. Team USA, they're going to play Thursday night. We're actually carrying that game here on WDA, 10 o'clock kickoff. Are they trying to win that game, or is that a game where you kind of rest everybody and it doesn't really matter? How does Team USA approach that game against Turkey?
Can I say yes to both of those? So
yeah.
I think that it's a game. I think it's a game that they're going to put out a lineup, and that's the cool thing about this U.S. team is that even up and down their lineup, they go to their bench and they still have players that can produce at an international level, which is something that we've never really been able to say before. So I think that for this U.S. team, I wouldn't be surprised if it's more of like a mixed-in lineup where you're getting some guys minutes and also being able to pull out your starters and getting some rest. But I don't think it's going to be a team. They're not going to put a team out there that's going to go get steamrolled or anything like that. So I think it'll be a competitive team that has a good shot at winning or has a chance of keeping it close with Turkey. But then at the same time, you're getting your players rest, the big guys that have been putting in all the minutes, the people that you really need ready for those knockout stages. Don't be surprised if those guys start on the bench, and that creates an opportunity for everybody else that's coming in off the bench to prove that they belong to get some minutes in the knockout stages. So I think it's a good opportunity for them to try to get all three wins. They're going to put out a competitive lineup, but it's going to be, I would imagine it's going to be pretty heavily mixed with some names that we haven't really been talking about leading up into this one.
It's on the Rowdies broadcast team and also former goaltender, USF Hall of Fame goaltender, I like to mention, Jeff Attinella. Last one for you. We were just having a conversation. Messi became the all-time leading goal scorer in the World Cup. He's the GOAT. I think it's undeniable at this point. Who's the GOAT? Who is the Messi of Tampa Bay sports all time?
Oof.
There's so many options. Like when you sit down, we've had so many good players.
Athlete of all time.
Like Tim went with Evan Longoria. I said Andre Vasilevsky. A lot of people did not like the Vasilevsky choice because they feel like you wouldn't be able to recognize him at Publix. But his resume alone, I just think is so strong, and he's the best goaltender in the planet in multiple seasons. So.
And also, too, he wears a helmet. You can't hold it against him that he has to wear a helmet.
Correct.
Just because you can't see his face when he's doing his work doesn't take away from the idea that the work that he does is very good.
And look, we've had a lot of people say Tom Brady, which I agree. I think the argument against Tom is he was only here for 3 years, but Tom Brady, I have no problem with saying Tom is the GOAT. I think the crown champion so far has been Derek Brooks.
That's what I was thinking. I was definitely leaning because I always lean more towards that Bucks era. As somebody that grew up in this region, just knowing how important that Bucks era was to kind of changing the idea of sports in this town. So I was kind of thinking, leaning towards Derek Brooks because he's also stuck around and he's just been such a pillar in the community. I don't understand why people would have a big problem with Vassie though. I mean, he's won multiple Stanley Cups. He's the best goalie in the world, and he's done everything through Tampa. So I don't mind the Vassie shot as much as other people. I think I got to go with Derek Brooks.
Nope, Derek Brooks, great choice. That is Jeff Attinella. You can hear him Sundays, 9 a.m. right here on WDAE, Football Sundays. He's talking World Cup. And, Jeff, we'll talk to you Thursday. We'll preview Team USA's game Thursday. And we'll talk to you then, all right? Thanks for coming on today. Appreciate you.
Yeah, of course, man. Enjoy the England game. Should be a good one.
Yeah, we got some good games on today. You got Ronaldo. You got England. Going to be a fun day in World Cup action if you're digging it. All right, we'll get back into some football stuff coming up next on The Nick Wize Show.